Hey besties, let's throw some shade, honey. You ready to get into it? Good morning, besties. Happy Monday. It's Behind the Shade. And I just got through watching Married to Medicine. It's the season 12, episode 16, reunion part 2. And we are done. We have concluded. Yes, we have concluded season 12. There is no part 3 next week. We all know the Real Housewives of Atlanta starts next Sunday. Okay. So, besties, you're getting it early this morning because, with me being on the West Coast, Married to Medicine comes on at 9 p.m. By the time my show comes on, other content creators have already posted. Sometimes I really feel like I need to get back with direct TV because that cable was East Coast time. So I could watch it at 6 p.m. But no, ain't nobody paying for all that cable. Cable is so outdated, right? So you're getting it first thing this morning. Hopefully you can enjoy it for on your lunch because I know many of you are on the East Coast, okay? But can we just talk about Steve coming in hot after Eugene? Honey, in the words of K. Michelle, honey, you just shook the table. And they never did get any resolve. At the end of the day, they didn't resolve anything, right? Eugene just walked away again, like he's been doing all season, just walking away. He said, "You ain't finna be calling me unhinged and talking about I pushed you." Shout out to you, Simone. And speaking of Simone, okay, so part 2 continues. Remember last week in part 1, Simone was telling Jackie, we are done. Yeah. Uh huh. Uh huh. She says, we will never end up back together again. Uh huh. Won't do it. Take my word for it. We all like, oh no, no, Simone and Jackie. And I immediately was like, how is next season gonna go with them not talking? And Simone is like, I'm done good forever. Like, really? This is okay. And if Heavenly wins her chair, she won't be back as a friend of or nothing. And this is like the most involved friend of that we have ever seen. They might as well just gave Heavenly. Why did they make her a friend of? Mimi was the friend of. Okay. So the episode begins. Okay. So Simone will move forward with Jackie because they have love there. She was talking about Dr. Heavenly, honey. All that was for Dr. Heavenly, the dentist. Simone does not appreciate the things that she's been accused of. Heavenly has accused her being aggressive, unhinged. How is the unhinged going to call you unhinged? Uh-huh. And that really bothers Simone. And then you said I'm pushing you, and you're not taking none of this back. And if you watched heavily in the past on her YouTube, she would say she gonna say something and she gonna take it back. And in this particular season, I really wish Heavily would have had her YouTube. I guess Dr. Damon production. They shut her down. I think she was going on Patreon, but now that she's running for chair, she's probably not doing it anymore, right? So, but I would have liked to her. I would have loved for her to have her channel for this season because she could really explain what she was doing, what she was thinking, how things went, what we missed, what we didn't see, what they edited out. But they shut that down, honey. So yeah. So wait, Simone, this is Simone's boundary for Jackie. We're gonna be cool as long as you take a stance on what's right and what's wrong. She's not saying pick me or her. You can be friends with that raggedy dentist. But when she wrong, you need to stand on it. Okay? You need to stop going on mute and trying to keep it cute. Jackie's like, okay, what do you want me to do? Jackie is fighting for that friendship, honey. Yes. I don't know what heavily got on Jackie, but Jackie knows where the heart is, okay? It is hard to leave a Pisces alone, honey. Get you a Pisces, honey. It'll change your life, okay? And that's a good change, okay? So Jackie does admit that Simone did not push heavily over there talking crap. Well, she screamed at me and it was uncalled for. I mean, did she scream at you or did she push you? Because a scream can't push and a push can't scream. What is it, Heavily? So, anyway, Simone is going to follow Jackie back on Instagram because, she unfollowed her. So, Andy asked the rest of the ladies, did Simone push Heavenly? They all said no. Nope. She didn't. I didn't see it. Not true. Contessa tells Heavily she always starting stuff, uses trigger words, in this case is unhinged, aggressive, and the pushing. You always use trigger words and then you'll call security. So what I heard Heavily say later on is she was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna call security for you because I'm scared of you. Oh, Toya and all them, Simone, I ain't scared of them, but I'm scared of you. So backstage, child, Curtis is annoyed and he is amped up. We have never heard Curtis talk this much in the last 11 seasons. Curtis, we didn't even know he had a throat, a voice, nothing. So he's amped up, right? So Scott says something about how good Jackie looked. He telling Scott, don't be looking at his wife. Scott says, check this out. If Jackie fine, Jackie fine. Cecil says Contessa always calling another man handsome. They ran the flashback. Hi, handsome. Then Curtis tells Eugene, how Toya has perpetrated this lie that he puts his hands on her and other women. And he's like, you support her and her lies. I ain't got nothing to do with that, Eugene says, okay? She said other women have come to her. There's been 2. And I'm like, okay, Toya and Heavily, we got it on camera. Okay, there's been 2 that we know of. And then we can say 3 for that woman he got caught with when he was cheating on Jackie. Okay. So back on stage, Heavily says she's scared of Contessa. Oh, I got ahead of myself. Sorry, y'all. But so she tells Contessa she's scared of her, but she will whoop her behind. And so Contessa's like, you can't be scared. You sitting there threatening me. So Brandy was like, yeah, that's unhinged. If you scared of somebody, but you're going to whoop their butt. Okay, that's unhinged. So Heavily talking so much smack that she forgot Andy's name. She's like, what's your name? I was like, oh, Andy don't handle any of that well. He's like, what's your name? So then we have a medical moment. What's trending that makes your job harder as a doctor? Jackie says TikTok. Everybody's getting their information from TikTok. So when they come to their doctor's appointments, and this is the thing for you TikTokers, if you don't want the medicine, if you don't want the treatment, if you don't want them to do certain things to your baby, why are you making doctor's appointments? I'm just asking. What you coming to the doctor for? Huh? I'm just asking. Why you don't just have TikTok give you little consultations and diagnosis? Why you bothering the doctors? So she says, mothers don't want certain things done to their babies. They don't want certain medication, and even I think it was Simone. She said even certain people don't, if you a certain sign, a zodiac sign, they don't want you working on them. Child, I said, I know you lying. And this has gotten out of control. And I don't blame them because in my profession, YouTube gets on my nerves. The YouTube University is what we call it. No pun intended. Not being anyway. I'm talking about the past before I became a content creator. But my clients would come to me with these YouTube videos, and I'm like, oh goodness, you want me to study anyway? I'm not ready to tell y'all what I do for a living, and it's nothing bad. I'm just not ready to share. Okay. So then they talk about how the doctors of color are being affected by the cut with DEI. They need the aid for med school, so now they can't get funding, and Simone was like, my mom worked at the post office. My dad was a truck driver. They didn't have $400,000 to put me in med school. And, this will trickle down from the doctors to the nurses to the patients. Patients' care will be affected. So y'all better run the TikTok, okay? TikTok, TikTok. So Andy asked about, Alex Preety, the nurse who was, he was pow pow during an ICE protest out there in the Midwest. And so, they're like, yeah, we thought he'd be all right because, he had privilege, white skin privilege. And it's scary now because that's not so, because they even, pow powed a white woman before him. They don't mention her. So, next urgent issue for the people of color, we passed away more from cancer than anyone else. And then Andy brought up the spike of HIV in Atlanta with Black women. Contessa is a big advocate for the PrEP. And I remember Tamar saying she takes it. And Contessa says, if you're single and you're active, get on PrEP. Okay. Not just for men on men action. Okay. So now the men join Andy on stage and the ladies go backstage. Andy asks, what's the drama between Eugene and Curtis and Lapgate? Lapgate. Toya is still offended because Curtis denies that it happened, is what Eugene says. Curtis, I know Toya said, I put my hands on multiple women. That's his issue. She went on Watch What Happens Live and said that. Toya says she said he needs to keep his hands to himself because he puts his hands on multiple women. She said, no, that's what I said. Okay. So, child, whatever. Tomatoes, tomatoes. Okay. So on the show, he has touched 2 women. Oh goodness. Off show, 3 women. And I just mentioned who they were. This is all your fault, Jackie. That's what Toya's telling Jackie. She said, because you said he didn't do it. And that stuck with me for years. And it's like, oh, okay. Jackie, she gonna keep it cute and on mute. So Eugene and Curtis will not come to an argument. Eugene and Curtis will not come to an agreement. Child, it says agreement. It is okay. Okay, got it. Excuse me, besties. I have not had coffee. And child, it says agreement. And I don't know why I said argument. Okay, so Eugene and Curtis will not come to an agreement. Curtis says Eugene is lying. You're a liar. Curtis wants Eugene to check Toya. Curtis wants Eugene to make Toya apologize to him. Eugene says Curtis won't take accountability. So now they're done. But Curtis said he did do it. They've been rolling the flashback every time they bring it up. We see it. He pulls her to on his lap. Eugene, you never said anything, and Jackie, you didn't say anything. Why? Yeah, why? So Damon lied to Heavenly about getting a massage on a beach in Jamaica. Big deal. So Damon, in his defense, he says that him and Heavenly, they get massages every week by Melanie. Hey, Melanie. And what he got on the beach was nothing in comparison. But I'm like, boo boo, the lady rubbing on your feet, your legs. So since you didn't lay down, that didn't count. Well, honey, who was that took their shirt off? Was that Scott? He took his shirt off and got on his stomach. He was like, massage me for real, for real. So, okay, on to the skip a day from work party when Toya clowned the mess out of Eugene. And this is what the men are not getting. He acted so bad at that party, or Toya acted so bad at that party. This is why everybody coming for Eugene this season. Steve is coming for Eugene. Eugene ain't finna go against Toya. He is not trying to be in the doghouse again. Curtis is coming for Eugene. And once again, Eugene is not finna say nothing to Toya because she checked him. He got to live and sleep with her. He wants peace and quiet and harmony in his home. And he rather y'all be mad at him than her. That's his wife. And that's the issue that they having with him. But he like, he ain't finna mess up twice in one season with his wife, okay? Say that for next season, okay? Which we all know, now that I'm thinking about it, since he did not clear things up with Curtis or Steve, we know that'll be the storyline for next season, okay? They're going to continue it on. So, remember Eugene said it was a married moment. Steve is like, you said a married moment, but ugh. So things were said and they didn't, they didn't mean, they didn't mean it. And then there was a lot of people at their house. They got these cameras. And Eugene says, because there was a few people there, that wouldn't have normally been invited. So he talking about he's talking about the newbies, Mimi, Brandy, Angel. They didn't know them. So Steve says, oh, it sounds like a narrative spin to me. Child. Because the blame was put on Mimi. Remember, you bitchs did this to me. Remember when Toya said that, calling my wife and others out their name? Heavily in Mimi. I didn't hear you take accountability. Where's that apology? Eugene was like, there isn't one. Because Mimi was judging, had them judgy eyes. She was judging, and so was Heavily. She was being judgy too. Because they was talking smack. Remember, Heavily was telling Toya, don't talk like that to her husband. And Mimi was like, I could never. Child. So backstage, Toya tells Mimi that they was talking crap, and that's why all this just blew up. That's why I put y'all out. I'm already going through a lot. Y'all over there judging, talking crap. I don't really want you here. I don't rock with you like that heavily, and I wanted y'all out. Mimi says she didn't say nothing about her marriage. You were saying something. You did, Mimi. You did. And you know what, y'all? If I did have direct TV, the show would come on much earlier because the show comes on at 9 p.m. here in California. If I had direct TV, it would come on at 6. And I would have had time to go back in my notes to find the episode, because it was at the beginning of the season, was to see what Mimi was saying. Child, don't let me find 10 extra minutes today. But you did, Mimi, you did. Steve then says, that's all right. You want to be a woman. You act like a woman. You're Eugene Bush. Cecil was like, nah, Steve, nah. I was like, oh, fighting words. You just called him a beer. Oh, Eugene, you gonna take that? Don't do that, Steve. Don't do that. Security, security, get up out of here, bruh. Steve gonna tell Cecil, Cecil, we not doing that. And I said, you know, besties, the folks on the Instagram, Facebook, whatever, honey, they are coming for Steve. They calling him zesty and everything. He getting all, they calling him out. And I'm like, this is right where it started. How you just go, you called him out, you know, you called him a beer, a woman. So Eugene was like, Steve, you've been rude all day. I've been here for 12 years and you just got here. We don't even treat each other like this. We ain't never in the history of Married to Medicine had it crunk like this. Curtis says, well, the issue started at your house. I was like, oh, not you getting double, you getting jumped. Eugene, you getting jumped by Curtis and Steve. Curtis is like, let me in, I got it. You cool down, Steve, because you just hit him with a heavy one. I got it. So you know the issue started at your house. And it don't matter how long he been here. If it's been 2 years, 20 years, 12 years. I was like, oh, okay. You know, there's just a respect between men that ain't here. We ain't doing it. There's supposed to be a respect thing. Well, anyway, I ain't going to say nothing. Okay, so you have an issue with my wife. I get it. That was Eugene to Curtis. No, I have an issue with the truth. Child, I mean, Curtis, what is big country? What's the issue? You pulled Toya, some other man's woman, onto your lap. You wanted her butt cheeks on your pole. You did it in front of her husband and your wife. Did you apologize for that? Because Jackie said it didn't happen and she was sitting right there. Did you ever apologize to Toya for that? Because I haven't seen that flashback. I haven't seen them play that part back. Because what is your problem? You was over there hugged up on Heavenly. We saw the pictures. Did you apologize to your wife and to Heavenly and to Damon for that? Did you apologize to Eugene for snatching up his wife? No. You got busted cheating. And then after that, now all of a sudden you're doing business in the Dominican and wasn't hardly on the show because you was embarrassed. Like, who you really mad at? You don't hold yourself accountable. Ain't nobody thinking about you. So moving on. Damon, why didn't you tell Heavenly that your son was arrested? And I forgot to point that out in my recap last week, besties, about the son, may have a mental illness and how Heavenly is running. And, if he wasn't who he was, Damon Jr., he would have, but he did get arrested. I don't know. Anyway, here go. This will be my last, Dr. Damon. I'm sort of quiet. I'm a quiet guy, so I don't address everything. You all know the whole story. No, you all don't know the whole story. So don't assume you do because I'm on TV. I handled the situation the best as I could, as a father could. It's difficult because we were close. And then something happened and you don't know what it is. I'm there for him whenever he comes home. And this show has surprised me. Lying, saying I'm doing stuff that I'm not doing. So Simone is backstage screaming, well, then tell your wife to stop doing it to us. Honey, I heard that girl. Now calm down, Simone. Calm down. And you guys notice she wasn't hollering and screaming on stage. She did it backstage. Yeah. Uh-huh. She wasn't hollering, even though when she was going, you know, tit for tat with Heavenly, they wasn't there wasn't screaming. She wasn't screaming, and kudos to her. So Scott tells Damon that Heavenly will say anything about anybody, even if it's a rumor. She gonna bring it out and talk about everybody. Anybody can get it. And so he telling Damon that could be your retaliation because she talks about everybody. I'm sorry. She's gonna say what she says, but I haven't done it. I didn't disrespect anybody. So people shouldn't have anything to say about me. Child, Simone back there talking about, boy, you are just a casualty of war. So Damon says, I don't care. he said he could be mad at people and don't be mad at their spouse. So don't be mad at him if you mad at Heavenly. Learn the difference. We are not the same person. So Cecil says these women get into it and then the men allow it. And then, now that the men, they get mad too. And before it wasn't like this. Cecil, like, we usually could just talk our talk and be done with it. But now we carrying the bones too. Right. You're starting to act like the women, Steve. Zesty. Sassy. Honey, they was eating him up on Facebook last night. So the women are saying things that hurt all the men. They just coming for people's husbands now. So they are different now. Things are different. Damon says he tells Heavenly not to say things about the guys because, if she does that, then I got to get involved and it ain't going to be nice. And somebody go ask, well, does she listen? She's gotten better. I'm kidding when he said, she's gotten better. So Steve says Damon, takes accountability and he doesn't deflect like Eugene. Eugene says, well, Mr. Bush doesn't deflect. I was like, that was good, Eugene. Yes, that was good. So Andy discusses, wives versus girlfriend duties, and so I guess that was like a dig towards Quad. I don't know. Or maybe even Angel. I don't know. Wasn't discussed. So Andy asks, what is something your wife does now that you never would have asked of her when she was your girlfriend? Curtis says, making love, making love. He wouldn't ask for the making of the love. And they like, child, y'all be over there pretending. Jackie is a freak. So Andy was like, yeah, Jackie is very intercourse positive. They freaks. I heard Toya say they probably did it in the car. What? Nope, they can't do that. Curtis is way too tall, Toya. Read the room. So they said, honey, they trying to get it in 16 times a week. They trying to beat Quad's score. But I'm like, Quad and King ain't even together no more. So you're fine. You don't have to try to compete anymore. So sorry, y'all. The women are on stage with the husbands now. So Cecil says, before he was right more. And Simone liked to debate now. She didn't do that before. Simone says, yeah, because I was trying to get that ring. I said, I know that's right. So Steve and Mimi keeps their marriage together by checking in on each other. I like that. That's what I do. She wants to make sure, has the love language changed? What do you need from me? They date still. And he says, and I pour words into her since that's her love language, words of affirmation. He makes sure he does it. Simone and Cecil, we get to them. Honey, Simone says, y'all keep saying I pay this man's bills. No, I don't. Cecil has 2 jobs. And I was like, where? Do he still sell real estate? Well, what's the second one? He delivering Uber Eats. I mean, what is it? What are the 2 jobs? But she says she don't pay his bills. So have you cut the boys off? No, that's happening. That's happening gradually. I just need Cecil to show up for me when it's a no. I need him to say no also instead of throwing me under the bus. Curtis apologizes to Quad again for speaking on her and King's IVF journey. He said he didn't understand it, what she had to go through, but once he understood it, he's apologetic. She accepts his apology again. Good. So Steve says, he didn't pay to get into the Med Gala charity because Toya targeted them and was intentional about targeting them. Sounds like you were targeted because you didn't pay to be there, sir and ma'am. I don't understand why is it your job to treat them like how they were acting a year or 2 previously. What that got to do with you? You didn't host the gala. It would make sense if Mimi hosted and Toya wasn't paying and wasn't coming but them just getting here an hour ago and they trying to throw shade and tit for tat. It's just really weird. Who put them up to this? Heavenly. Who put them up to this? It just seems like someone put them up to it. It's intentional because Toya ain't paid for the last 2 years. You wasn't even here 2 years ago. What does this have to do with you? Then Toya's talking over Steve because she got to defend what she's protecting. He's given more in 1 year than they have ever had. The Bushes ain't never gave nothing. Okay, I'm gonna stop. The Harrises have given. Oh gosh, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm Team Eugene. I am. I'm Team Harris. And I could change my mind if I want, but I'm not because I don't even understand the angle that Steve and Mimi are coming from. It just makes no sense to me. So Steve was like, I addressed it with Eugene. He won't take accountability. He's still deflecting. Eugene wants Damon he's like, Eugene, you want Damon to apologize for heavily talking about your peen, but you won't apologize for Toya. What is Toya apologizing to you for? I don't understand. You came to a charity without a ticket. Your name is not on the list. I don't understand. Y'all, what I do understand, Steve, is you're still mad about that $5,000 from last year. That's what you mad about. You don't feel like you need to give no more money because nobody has spent as much as you. Well, not Toya and not Eugene. And what that got to do with you? It has nothing to do with you. So Simone says people who throw a gala can turn you away. She said Toya fussed at everybody. Simone said she gave $4,000 and Toya fussed at her at the door. And Toya was like, and did, sure did. So Mimi and Steve feel like, their presence irritates the Harris's insecurities. I'm like, wait, what? Wait, how, what? What? Wait a minute, what? Now, child. Okay. Moving on. Contessa says the Met Gala is theirs, the ladies, it's theirs. But this seemed like a Eugene and Toya show. I was like, well, talk your talk, Contessa. She said, Eugene, you should have been nothing more than a guest. I'm like, Contessa, Eugene is not going to slack off and get fussed at and embarrassed in front of people. Toya don't care where she get mad at him at. He ain't trying to be bothered with Toya's mess again. Toya says, well, when Jackie did the gala, she didn't share any information about it. She only asked for money. And so she did the same thing, but she getting all the pushback from everybody. Heavily over there was mumbling under her breath, talking about Toya is full of crap. Oh gosh. No, Toya, no, Heavenly, you are. And I hope she don't come back. I really hope she don't come back next season. We don't need it. I'm good. I'm good. I hope you win. I really do. Breathe. So Toya says, if you could give $5,000 to charity for a bowl, you can give 1,000 this year. Now wait a minute. What happened to the 300? The tickets were 150 a piece. Now you want him to give you 700 more dollars? Oh, get it how you get it. And Toya says to date they have not donated one dime. So Heavenly is like, you know, she said, you don't know what they gave. See, okay, there's the proof right there. Heavenly had them do that. Why wouldn't she know though, Heavenly? Did they give the money to you? To Jackie? Why wouldn't Toya know she's running the charity? What you know, Heavenly? What you know? So Contessa, Toya, and Heavenly are talking over each other. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't even. Girl, they were just blah 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 blah. And people say when Toya is deflecting, she talks over you loudly and won't let you finish your thoughts, so she ain't gotta address it. She trying to shut you down. She trying to get ahead of it. Okay. So Eugene says Toya was. She said this is why I was involved. Toya was stressed. She didn't want to look like a fool. She had a deadline. It was coming. No one was helping her. Okay. The lady at the front door, I told her if someone comes and their name is not on the list, let me know. That was his job, to check you at the door. Okay. He should knighted you at the door. Where is the money, honey? And I believe they did pay because I remember seeing Mimi pull her phone out like she was about to send a Cash App, an Apple Pay, a Venmo, a Zelle to them for the $300. We need proof. I need the internet. I'm going to put this, I'm going to manifest this. We need the internet to show us proof if, I don't know Mimi and Steve's last name, but we need to know if they paid the $300. Okay. Contessa asked, well, why? Because she said, why would you ask them to pay? Like, why did you do that? It's like, because everybody that comes in needs to pay, Contessa. I don't understand. And you know, that comes from Contessa having to pay for everything and not receiving no help from her husband. Honey, she don't understand how a husband is helping you out because she got one lazy, trifling old dud of a husband. So she's like, why? Why would you help her? Why would you control the door? Why are you helping? So she wants Toya to pull her doctor's coat back out that have all the text messages on it because she says she asked Toya twice, did she need help? Okay. So Quad explains that the Med Gala concept is for all of them to donate, back into the med field, right? She told Toya the ticket money went for charity, not to Jackie. This was what she told Toya like a year and two ago when she was doing it. Toya says, and they, Simone, no, and she said, and they, Steve and Mimi didn't pay a dime. So Andy is like, why is it so hard for this group to come together on this topic? And so Jackie said, because two people tried to plan it without help from others. But the positive is that they are almost, they applied for the 501c3, which was Toya's idea. and they're going to be an incredible charity soon. It takes a while. The paperwork is filed, and they have their 30 days away from being an incredible charity. And then Andy says, well, next year, can you let me know so I can donate too, please? Yes, we sure will. Quad was like, checked it, got it, wrote it down, made a note of it, and I will be sending out reminders. Yes. So backstage, Steve feels singled out by Eugene because guess what, Bestie? Because he's attractive. And Toya sees it and has spoken about it, honey. Said he could wear his shirt opened, he could take it off because he's handsome. Uh, so Steve is like, this is personal. Eugene is like, yeah, it is. It's very personal. Steve calls Eugene insecure. He has a little man's complex, and that's when Eugene walked away once again from confrontation. He has a lot to protect. He ain't got time. So we wrapping things up. Finally, Andy goes around. He misses a few people. Mimi and Contessa didn't get to have a little last minute, little whoop-de-whoop. Brandy, amazing experience. It's been a lot, many personalities, but a great experience. I just went over Angel. Angel loves being in this space with these intelligent ladies. Toya, what do you want them to know about you? I fight for the truth. I will apologize, even if it hurts. I don't hold grudges, but I do get upset. Heavenly, will you be in Congress? Yes, you will have to leave the show. Good riddance. Simone, thank you, Jackie, for valuing our friendship. Uh, Heavenly, oh, you're hurtful. You're hurtful to my husband. That's what Heavenly said. Heavenly, you have assassinated so many people's characters. Heavenly, you scream. We all do things. You attacked my husband. Sorry you feel that way. But you put all your business on TV. I would never do that. Heavenly, be quiet. You don't put it on there, but we end up knowing. Simone is telling Heavenly, nothing happens to you first. Whatever comes your way is because you did it first. I'm going to be here before you and after you, wishing you the best. I'm wishing you the best too. And Andy said, okay, let's leave it there. Jackie, she wants more love, wants the women to show more love to each other, and she wants Simone to befriend her again on Instagram. Quad, she's happy to be seen. She sees these women as family now and not co-workers. She's crying. She's getting emotional. And Andy's like, why are you so getting why are you getting emotional? She's like, because I came through the trenches with these people. She has bared her things. She's sad because of that heartbreak, the breakup of her and King. And so that was good. She loves the ladies now. And so Toya does the champagne toast, and she wants these women to remember that they're inspirational and bring that with you for season 13. And again, Mimi and Contessa didn't get to say anything. And besties, that was a wrap. That was the end of season 12 of Married to Medicine. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Please like the video. Please hype. You guys are commenting, but can you hype? Can you like? You're not even liking. Press the like button. Likey like. Do it right when you click on. Like the button. Push the like button. And thank you for being here. I do appreciate you. And besties, that is it. It's a wrap. I get a few days off, and I'll be back on Thursday for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Bye, besties.